to Find Out Nation. I'm one of your hosts, Jamie,
I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
who clearly can speak more eloquently than I can, so I appreciate that. Welcome to the podcast that talks about, as a nation, when you fuck around, you find out. How many days? I saw that look on your
Son
face.
of a bitch.
How many days to what? Well, we're 8, right? Because it's to the 20th.
Yeah. I think so.
So we're just about a little over a week away
Yeah,
from the
8 days.
inauguration. 8 days.
We're
Just
in the
over a week
single
away from the
digits.
inauguration.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have to say, I don't think I have ever experienced more news about an incoming president ever. You know what I'm saying?
And how much he's weighing in on things that he should have zero ability to weigh in on. He's got his thumb on things and is controlling things that he should not be able to do, right?
You
Because he
wouldn't
hasn't
think.
even been sworn in yet.
Yes, you would not think. Today we have a few different topics. So funny enough, as we were talking about this episode, I'm like, is there a lot going on? There's a lot that's going on in the country, but is there a lot going on politically? And then I started actually racking my brain about things going on. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there's actually a lot going on. So we're going to talk a little bit about the brand new House Resolution 7. We want to talk a little bit about Biden and kind of where he's leaving the country, what his legacy is, some of his more recent comments, and, you know, how his exit is going to go. Meta announced some new policies, so we'll see if we get a chance to talk about that. And then, of course, the issue that I think right now is really gripping the nation are the wildfires that are happening in Malibu. Before we get started on all of that, though, speaking of people having access to the president and already being able to become a part of the presidential conversation, Steve Bannon has had a recent meltdown. It happened.
Another tantrum?
And yes, yesterday. So for anybody who has been living under a rock, Steve Bannon and Elon Musk are at a war right now because Elon Musk and his tech bros believe in H-1B visas as a means to be able to bring in highly educated and skilled tech workers into our workforce. And of course, Democrats are concerned with tech bros using this as a way to basically have indentured servants that have to keep their jobs at whatever company they're at and just agree to whatever working terms that they're given because their company's the one that sponsors their visa. And if they lose it, then they lose their ability to stay. On the other side of the spectrum, if there's a spectrum, you couldn't get on the other side of it further than Steve Bannon, who wholly believes that brown people just are bad. He's just anti-brown people, as do most of your MAGA loyalists believe just brown people are bad. We saw that with the New Orleans terrorist attack recently where the right wing could not fall on themselves fast enough to talk about our unsecured borders, even without knowing whether or not this was an immigrant or not. And then, of course, they all had to eat crow when it turns out the guy was a born and bred American
citizen.
Indeed. But the latest said, so he was, I think he went on some, I can't remember what it was, but he was doing some sort of interview and it finally was translated. Let's see. He told the Italian daily Corriere della Sera last week, which was translated by a former Breitbart employer. He will not have so this is speaking about Elon Musk. I will have Elon Musk run out of here by Inauguration Day. He will not have a blue pass to the White House. He will not have full access to the White House. He will be like any other person. He is a truly evil guy, a very bad guy. I made it my personal thing to take this guy down before because he put money in. I was prepared to tolerate it. I'm not prepared to tolerate it anymore. He goes so far as to say that Musk should go back to South Africa.
Go back to where you came from? That's what we're saying? Yeah. Go back to where you came from? Yeah.
Which,
got it. And you've got 8 days, bitch.
Fuck around and find out. You were the one who were like, okay, we can deal with the money. As long as he's bringing money, I can deal with Elon. I can deal with this bullshit. And you fucked around and now you're
And now
finding
you're
out.
finding out. That's exactly right.
You fucked around, and
That
now you're
when
finding out.
people with money, Bannon, which you don't have, especially in the gazillions of dollars that Musk has,
Yes.
they expect to be given what they want
That's right.
for the money. Like, they don't ask permission. They purchase or buy their way into whatever it is that they need. And the expectation between him and Trump was, I'm going to bankroll your freaking presidential run, and then you're going to shut up and let me do what I want.
That's 1,000% correct. That is what the expectation is. And we've seen it over and over and over again that is exactly what that expectation is, we've seen it from oil people. We've seen it from big business people. We've
Healthcare.
seen it from
Yep.
GE back in the 80s and
Yeah.
90s of, listen,
Yep.
we'll
DuPont.
back you, but when it's time, you're going to,
Yep.
you work for
You
us. Like,
Yep. You sit
motherfuckers,
down
you
and
work
shut
for
the
us.
hell up.
And
Yep.
where we've seen time and time again a problem with this, like we're even seeing it in the Democratic Party, right? The real way that Biden ended up leaving the election is really because Democratic donors were like, yeah, we can't support this
George
anymore.
Clooney said, you don't get my money anymore.
Right. And so,
So, yeah.
This is unfortunately how it is like, if you are going to, and this is where I think, the mandate against politics as usual comes from people who really identify with the fact that wealthy people have bought and sold politicians in this country for too fucking long. And we've got to get to a point where that's not the case. So it's encouraging to hear Steve Bannon be like, oh, tech bros just want to use these H-1B visas to take advantage, because they know it's a selling point that Democrats are using as well. But at the end of the day, let's not kid ourselves. He doesn't like brown people, period.
Right.
He doesn't give a fuck about immigration. Because if he did, and if Democrats are smart, let's take advantage. At this point, let's take advantage and say, okay, Elon Musk, you love H-1B visas. So let's sit down and actually reform immigration in order to make H-1B visas work for the entire world, or for the entire country, I should say, and make sure that they are taking care of our tech bros who need like legitimate reasons to have access to highly skilled workers that we don't have in the US, but also that are not indentured servants, as the left seems to say a lot.
Because let's not kid ourselves either that Musk is willing to throw his money wherever it benefits himself the best. He's not a Republican. He's not a Democrat. He is Elon Musk.
Yep.
And so that's where his money goes. So to your point, the Democrats are sitting over here like dumbasses with thumbs up their asses. Do something about it.
Yeah.
Use this situation as a way to manipulate Elon Musk away from Trump.
Yeah. Yes.
Quit being stupid about it. Do something about it. And let's not kid ourselves that Bannon had no problem on his talk show, back in the day, being fully fine with Trump's separation of children from their parents in his immigration policy the first go round. So no, he's not about immigration at all.
Nope.
At all.
No. So this was fun watching Steve Bannon. This is another one of these examples of like, what are the next 4 years going to entail? I am really, really like looking forward to more of these kinds of scenarios happening, because I have to believe that we're going to see them, right? There's just no way that, I've been listening to political pundits. I was watching George Stephanopoulos this morning on, was it This Week or whatever? And they're like, oh, Republicans are banding together. Okay. Well, they're not now. So let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So I believe you had mentioned that there were actually some really good job numbers that came on with Biden. And I think, some of my frustration, and you and I have talked about this, and I think it's your frustration as well, is that the American public just doesn't know these stats, doesn't hear them. So what are some of the numbers that you were seeing that I found really interesting?
So these are his final job numbers, right? That from December. So these are the final job numbers of his presidency. In total, 256,000 jobs were added in the month of December alone, which is fucking huge.
Yeah.
But then over the 4 years of his presidency, 16.6 million new jobs were created, sorry. It was the most of any single presidential term in history. More than Obama, more than FDR, more than any single presidential term in history. Like, that's insane.
Yes.
Insane. The unemployment rate fell by 0.1%. So we're still sitting at a little over 4% at the end of December. But I still think that, considering where the economy was when
Yep.
he took office,
Yep.
I think that's commendable.
Remarkable. Yep.
But those are the things that, to your point, they didn't do a good enough job of talking about that.
Yeah.
So
to your point, and I get the fact that like very much people have tunnel vision about the price of milk, the price of eggs. I get it. I go to the grocery store and what used to cost me $30 now costs me $50. My weekly grocery bill, which used to be $100, is now $150 or $200. Like, I get it. Groceries are way more expensive. With that said, I also know that, we've seen an increase in jobs created. We've seen a decrease in unemployment. People can actually like find new jobs to afford to actually be able to pay for some things. And I live in the Midwest, where in general, inflation and things like that don't touch us as quickly or as hard as they do in other places. But I am telling you that, like, at least I know that me and my friends, for the most part, can manage it. Is there sticker shock when you see this? Yes. But do I also know that my company is continuing to give raises, continuing to give promotions? I do see that. And so at the end of the day, as much as like, the right did such a good job in this election talking about its prices, its pricing, its prices, its prices, its prices. If Biden had done a better job of saying, hey, it's jobs, it's labor, it's jobs, it's labor, I feel like we could have at least had a fighting chance within this election.
Especially after the shit that went down with the unions.
Indeed. 100%. Yep, that's exactly right. Biden and Kamala had a better story to tell. We just couldn't get our shit together to tell it well.
Yeah, they just didn't tell it. Yeah.
This week, Biden came out and said he thinks that he could have beat Trump. I'm glad.
Oh, Peepaw. I'm so glad that you feel that way, because I think you're the only motherfucker in the room that feels that way.
Oh, Peepaw.
I got news for you, darling, because I don't you just welcomed your first great-grandchild recently, and I'm going to need you to just off into the sunset you go. Thank you for what you've done. You have had some amazing results.
Yep.
Nobody's going to take that away from you, but let's not be making up shit either. Let's not be making up, just out of straight whole cloth. Let's not be making up shit, because we all saw the fucking debate.
Yes.
Peepaw. And that shit wasn't good.
No. We were there, we all watched it, and we all
just like I remember January 6th.
Yeah.
I clearly remember your fucking debate.
To your point, I
was horrified.
Oh, fuck. This is bad. It's like, yes, we were all there.
Really
we all
bad.
saw it.
Yes.
Not to mention the fact that, sir, and we've seen you 20 other times since then, rambling into the jungle at one point.
Into the jungle. After, that's not where you're going.
The airplane sometimes. Getting, this stare. Where's that from?
You and Mitch McConnell, I'm going to need you both to just help each other to exit stage left. I just need you to go. Because this shit's not good for anybody. And take Pelosi with your ass.
At this point, please.
Goodbye.
I believe that she is more with it than the both of them, but honestly,
cognitively,
I'm okay. I'm done with them.
I'm over it.
I see your Mitch McConnell and I raise you a Biden and Pelosi. You all go away.
Yes.
Can we don't get me wrong. I adore Bernie Sanders and don't want him to go anywhere for the time being, because I do believe in his politics so much that I don't want to say, oh, you get to a certain age and you should no longer be able to be a politician. But Biden, oh, people.
Yes.
Exactly.
I can't with you.
If you're ever caught on TV with this stare, that's it. That's the rule. If anyone can find telegraph or television and whatever evidence
Yes.
that
Yes.
that at one point you were supposed to be televised, and your response was,
Because Mitch McConnell's
you
had it too. Like,
that's exactly
yeah,
right. That's exactly right.
yeah,
Mitch McConnell, we all
yeah,
saw him. Like, he
yeah.
had a
Has
goddamn
aides had to come
stroke
up
on
there?
TV. Like,
Yes,
if we see
yes.
that, that is the indicator of, okay, he's
That's
done.
it.
We're done.
Mm-hmm.
This person
Mm-hmm.
should no longer be allowed to make any laws. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
Biden thinks he could have beat Trump. We all know
Well, I
that's
mean,
not
we all live in a
true.
fantasy world at some point. All of us
That's right.
have superhero fantasies, I'm assuming, of ourselves in
That's
different
right.
scenarios.
But
That's
I will
his.
say that it definitely makes me realize how much what that fight must have been with him to get him to step
Oh,
down. Like,
yeah. And
we knew he
yeah,
was struggling with admitting that he was
yeah,
not in the place to beat anyone, but the
right.
fact that that it's over and he still maintains that he could have beat Trump just
Yeah.
goes to show, like, oh my God, you're
Well, and
insane.
I hate to tell him, but it wouldn't have been as close
No,
as it was between Kamala and Trump. Like, it would have been
no,
a fucking
no.
bloodbath. And I had somebody tell me right after they announced that he was not going to run for reelection, that he was stepping aside. I had somebody message me and say, we just lost the election. And I'm like, bullshit. I'm like, we were going to lose the election with him.
Yep.
Now maybe we have a fighting chance. Granted, it's a small chance because now we have to condense a whole lot of shit into just like 3 fucking months.
Yep.
But the reality is that we were definitely losing had he not stepped aside. There was
100%.
no way we were winning with him on the ticket. No
100%.
fucking way.
100%. And if we had really not been fooling ourselves, we would have had the opportunity to actually run a real candidate from the very beginning. Whether
Yep.
it was Kamala
And
or
vet
not,
somebody.
we would have been
Yeah.
able to actually, like, put together a real presidential
An actual
candidacy.
fucking platform. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, speaking of batshit crazy, and in all fairness, there's just absolutely no way that this will ever get passed. But
You don't think?
I don't think so. Louisiana, the great state of Louisiana,
Oh, you're talking
proposed.
about Louisiana. Okay.
I was talking about House Resolution 7.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Andy Biggs and Clay Higgins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to give
Yeah.
an
I'm with you.
overview of what Resolution 7 says?
Yes, I can. Can I really quickly give an overview of those two?
Sure.
Okay. So Andy Biggs is from Arizona, replaced Mark Meadows in 2019. So he is the chair of the Freedom Caucus. So that tells you in a nutshell who he is.
Yeah.
He also refused to mask in chambers during COVID. Shocking. And is vocally against all forms of elective abortion. Okay, so that tells you where we're going with that. Clay Higgins, Louisiana.
So, and the reason I bring up Louisiana is because I specifically feel like this is such a, like, Arizona, I feel like, no, they're all batshit crazy. Just go ahead. Yeah. No, I was like, no, they're all batshit crazy. Yeah. No. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. Clay Higgins in May of 23 was recorded shoving, grabbing, and moving a protester during an event in D.C. But also during a House Homeland Security hearing in November of 23, floated an unfounded conspiracy theory that violence on January 6th was caused by FBI agents infiltrating the protests through ghost buses and posing as Trump supporters. I don't know what a ghost bus is. In July of 24, he was announced as one of 7 Republican members on the bipartisan task force investigating the attempted assassination of Trump. So they're both hardcore MAGA Trump acolytes.
Yes.
So in essence, the resolution, it starts out, if you're reading this, it kind of starts out like, okay, I can get behind. I mean, the first sentence says, recognizing the importance of access to comprehensive, high quality, life affirming medical care for women of all ages. Had we stopped right there, I'm on board. I don't give a fuck that you're both Republicans. I'm on board. That sentence, I'm on board. But then you read it, and it's only 2 pages long, guys. Like, this is what blows my mind. Like, we're off.
The resolution is only 2 sentences long, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah,
yes.
like,
Okay.
we're
Go ahead.
off.
Sorry.
We're off the rails by paragraph 5. Like,
Yeah.
this is the paragraph that really, like, the paragraph right above it says, Whereas healthcare for women should emphasize the whole woman, including her physical, mental, and spiritual wellness. Okay. That I'm all, like, okay. Like,
Right.
I'm not,
Even there, okay, clearly
yes, like, I am
you and
not,
we know what that
mhm,
means, right? We
yes,
know what that means.
yes.
But
That was the first clue that, like, oh, I know where this is headed.
that's right. But if again it had stopped there,
Yes,
okay, we are a
yes,
country
because,
founded on freedom of religion. That includes
yes,
spirituality. So
that's
again, you
right.
stop there and I'm good.
Yeah. The very next sentence.
Ugh.
Whereas healthcare for women should also address the needs of men, families, and communities as they relate to women's healthcare.
Indeed.
Now you
Thank
lost
God
me.
we're giving a voice to men.
To men and our communities. Now my community gets to weigh in on whether or not my healthcare
Mm-hmm.
matters. And then so then the next one, whereas healthcare centers, now we're talking about healthcare centers, should include access to social services that empower women to care for their health. The next thing I've highlighted is that, and they go on to talk about it should be certified clinicians and licensed medical professionals. Well, no shit.
Yeah.
Like, no shit.
Yep.
But whereas every pro women's healthcare center, because that's what they want to call them, offers comprehensive health services, including well woman exams, sexually transmitted disease testing and treatment, breast exams, pregnancy testing, prenatal and pregnancy care, miscarriage support, fertility awareness instruction, infertility consultation, and on-site or nearby direct referrals for material, emotional, practical, and spiritual resources.
Mm-hmm.
This, I need people to understand. This is, oh shit, I just clicked it out of it. It's literally in the Health and Human Services section of Project 2025. That's what this is, the first bill they're trying to get passed that we can directly correlate back to Project 2025. It's in there. This is what this is.
And when you look at the actual, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the idea that women's health has to go through this pro women's health center. Have you looked at the book or gone to the pwhcenters.org?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, pwhcenters.org does not come up yet, but there is a booklet that's available. And when you Google it, you find out that basically these pro-life doctors are trying to unite under this pro-women's healthcare centers. And then these pro-women's healthcare centers are supposed to be like what they want us to recognize as the appropriate level of care. So the actual resolution, to your point, has all of the whereas that you just read through, and then it says resolved that the House of Representatives, one, expresses its support for women nationwide to have access to comprehensive, convenient, compassionate, life-affirming, high-quality health care. Great. Again,
Great. Yep.
not a problem.
On board.
And two, recognizes the high standards established by the Pro Women's Health Centers Consortium as standards worth implementing nationwide.
Nationwide.
What does that mean? Like, this is what kills me about what exactly are we trying to do here? Recognizing a consortium of doctors who happen to be pro-life as a standard worth implementing. What does that mean as far as like a standard worth implementing? And this, like, just fundamentally, regardless of what it says, number one, these types of laws that are written with such a random, like,
and ambiguous,
ambiguous writing is what gets us into trouble time and time and time again. We see it all the time, right? So what does that mean? That we'll only offer women's health through these PWHCs, consortium doctors? Are we?
Yeah, it means I can't. Yeah. Are you going to finally decide that our health insurance can only
cover
we
these?
can only go to these? Like, I can't go to my own doctor that I've been going to
or
for
does this
20
mean
years?
that all Planned Parenthoods have to cover Pro Women's Health Center, their ideals? Because when you look at their booklet, what's required is medical materials. So like anything required by baby needs, any clothing, food for babies, emotional counseling service, prenatal hospice and infant loss support, practical advice on adoption, childbirth, and parenting, and spiritual abortion healing. Okay.
Abortion healing.
Mm-hmm. And then what's convenient, so they have to keep things in certain locations and keep certain opening hours. Compassionate, they provide more than one type of aid for pregnant women in need. High quality, that includes like licensed, clinicians, and they follow good codes and blah blah blah. And then the medical services, which the medical services in my mind are the central piece of this. So they will be required to offer well women and gynecological care, including preventative health services, well woman exams, STD screenings, breast exams, mammographies, depression, anxiety screening, and alcohol, tobacco, and other drug use screening. Which,
right? Where are we screening for that?
Right, for women's care. But then maternity care, so it'll include prenatal care, which are pregnancy tests, ultrasounds, pelvic exams, labs, progesterone supplementation, miscarriage support, and abortion pill reversals. And then postpartum checkup.
What is an abortion pill reversal?
I don't know, but it's written in the stars here. And then fertility education and infertility consultation. So that is what we are saying is going to be provided by these women's centers. And this is the standard that other women's centers have to abide by.
Follow.
On here, again, for medical services. So that's what's required. What's encouraged, like-minded medical referrals. Prenatal care through delivery, men's fertility testing and supplies, and fertility awareness instructions with multiple methods. Okay. How the fuck are we still trying to outlaw and reverse and get rid of abortions the way that we are? This country shows an 85% of Americans believe abortion should be legal in at least some circumstances. It's higher now than it was in 1975 when we started asking people whether or not they believe in this. 85%. Only 15% of Americans actually believe that abortion should be outright completely illegal. And here's my thing. If you believe that there are circumstances like rape that people should be allowed to abort a baby, then you don't believe it's murder. So shut the fuck up.
That's exactly right.
If you believe
clearly life doesn't begin at conception.
That's right. If you actually, if you believe that there are circumstances, no matter what the circumstances are, that abortion should be allowed, then you do not believe that it's murder. You do not believe life starts at conception. You are full of fucking shit, and you can kiss my ass. Because I cannot believe we're still having this conversation. 15% of people believe that abortion should be outlawed entirely. 85% believe abortion should be legal in at least some circumstances. It's insane.
And I don't. So, and I have one thing on that and one thing on the other on this. But the other thing I feel strongly about as well in the whole abortion debate is that in our laws, it says, like, I don't know how I want to phrase this. We recognize life does not begin until you take your first breath. I cannot put you on my medical insurance. I cannot do anything until you have taken your first breath. That is not in the womb. At that point, it is my life. It is not the baby's life. And also, to your point, if you do believe that if the mother's life is in danger, then at that point, we can do abortion, then your other arguments for not doing abortion are invalid. So, I 100% am on board with you on that. Like you don't get to have your cake and eat it too.
That's right. So this is where I think I don't want to debate the difference between pro-life and pro-choice. I think that has been why, we're not going to convince anyone else that they should be pro-choice. No pro-choicer is going to convince you and I that we should be pro-life. That's just never going to happen. And I think the vast majority of voters agree that at the end of the day, is abortion, should it be the first stop in birth control? Absolutely not. But
Right.
do things happen? 100% they do. And in those cases, should abortion be allowed as a possible like option that people can turn to? Absolutely, it should. In addition to that, do any of us, I've never met a pro-choice person that believes late-term abortions in any case, unless it is the woman
The
is
life
going
of the
to
mother. Yeah.
fucking die.
Yeah.
None of us believe that late term abortions should be allowed. None of us
Should
believe.
be a thing that happens.
And
Yeah.
this argument that like we're trying to kill babies after they're born, like what the fuck are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Infanticide is not a thing that
Infanticide.
happens in
That's
this
right. It's
country.
already illegal. Duh.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Duh.
right.
It's
But the
murder.
fact is that most people believe, even like when I look at the Gallup polls around morality. So
Mm-hmm.
while most people might be able to stomach the idea of abortion, the number of people that are like, it's a moral issue and you shouldn't have an abortion has always obviously been much more divided. But even
Mm-hmm.
now, people are at a 54% that believe it's morally okay to have an abortion. It is becoming more and more morally acceptable. I just, at this point, while I understand that there are a lot of old white men that don't love the idea of any type of abortion because now they don't get to tell women what to do with their
Because they're not
body,
in control.
the
Mm-hmm.
vast majority of people
Mm-hmm.
at least support something related to abortion. So I just don't understand
Mm-hmm.
why we still continue to have lawmakers that are like if there was ever an example of why the way that our current democratically elected officials and the whole process of democracy is not working the way that it should is the fact that a hugely high number of our elected officials still believe that abortion is a topic that they should be discussing when the
Mm-hmm.
vast fucking majority of Americans believe that abortion is okay. It's allowed, and
Mm-hmm.
especially in specific circumstances, right?
Yeah. And the thing for me, so two things. One is that your spirituality, your religion dictates how you live your life. It does not dictate how anyone else lives their life.
100%.
So what you consider to be a moral failing in someone else is just your fucking opinion, but it doesn't get to dictate how other people live their lives.
Well, and let's
The
be
other,
honest. Let's be honest. I mean, if we, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that like we should discuss it in this way. But if your spiritualization says abortion is perfectly okay, you're telling me the purpose of this resolution is because you want to support people in their spirituality.
mm-hmm,
Like, really?
mm-hmm,
Is that really your motivation? Or are you here to just, to your point, like continue controlling women and
mm-hmm,
controlling like how they deal with things by using God and Jesus like you have been for years? I watched a documentary about gays and pray the gay away. Remember, like in the
mm-hmm,
90s, there was a whole movement, and you and I
mm-hmm,
are old enough that I'm sure you and I both remember the pray the gay away. And
mm-hmm,
watching this on Netflix and watching like what the leaders of that movement, who in my mind really birthed the idea of marrying politics and the Republican
mm-hmm,
Party, because
mm-hmm.
that to me was the first instance, the Jerry Falwell and the
Oh yeah.
Tammy Faye Baker and all of those
Mm-hmm,
people were the ones that really, to me, said, if you believe in Jesus and God, you're going to believe in the Republican Party. You're going to marry these two together. And to me, like, and now those people are so guilt ridden and so mad at themselves for making it a precedence to say, yep, the Republican Party is here to protect your right
mm-hmm,
to tell your son he can't be gay or tell your daughter she can't have an abortion. And now they're racked with guilt to the point that like watching it is depressing. But there's a part of me that's like, you deserve it. I'm sorry to
yeah.
say, you deserve it. And
Mm-hmm,
this is again so much that fuck around you find out. When we elect officials, when we allow gerrymandering to elect officials that have these strong anti-abortion feelings, when even if that doesn't, like, look at fucking Missouri. Missouri
Oh yeah,
just passed a law to
to
remove the
enshrine it,
abortion ban.
in our Constitution.
That's
Yeah,
right. In this latest election, Missouri did that. And yet we still managed to full Republican voting.
and they're trying to overturn the will of the voters
I know.
in that November election to prevent that from being enshrined in our state constitution. But I think the bigger thing for me too with this is I'm like, if pro women's healthcare centers become the
Standard.
the standard in the nation, do we understand what that means? That now, like, granted, yes, we all have medical records that our government could access, whatever, but this is a fucking slippery slope. This is now it becomes a matter of you have to go here to these healthcare centers, and it's not just about
That's
are
right.
you seeking an abortion? It is tell me who your sexual partners are.
Well,
Do you have same-sex relationships? Do you like it's all of those thorny
what
things that
kind of
we don't want the
sexual
government
experience?
involved
That's
in.
right. Tell me about
That's
your
right.
sexual experiences. Do you use foreign products? Do you engage in
Exactly.
S&M practices? Do you
Right.
have, to your point, same sex or multiple sex partners at a time? Like
Yes.
to your point, these types of centers being focused around morality, there is such a slippery slope of how much
Yeah.
are they. And now, if I want to be treated by a gynecologist, am I now going to be forced to go to one of these centers in order to get care? And if so,
Yep.
now is, okay, I'm going to take a breath because I'm just
Yeah.
getting riled up.
Because
But the one other
yeah,
thing that I
but it's
think,
very scary.
it is scary, but I think the one other thing that really drives home for me is something that you just said is this should, for every denier out there that the Republicans did not have an agenda, that Project What's Its Bucket was not actually, because I refused to. It's like I can't say, like, the project that shall not be named. That's what we're going to call this,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to give
Mm-hmm.
it a name, because I don't want to give it any power. But the project that
Mm-hmm.
shall be not be named, if you did
Mm-hmm.
not think that this was the agenda, you're wrong. This
I mean,
is
it's House Bill number 7 for the newest session of Congress. Like, we came out running, guys.
Yep,
Like, you can't act like this isn't what they said they were going to do.
that's right. That is exactly right. So at the end of the day, like, for anybody who is doubting that the project which shall not be named is not their primary agenda, you're wrong.
And I think we have to be very careful and cognizant because the day that this was announced, the day that they did that, whatever you want to call it, was the day that he went off the rails for an hour on a press conference. And so I need people to understand that while we need to pay attention to what he's saying, we need to be way more focused on what's going on behind him, because he's the distraction to keep us from understanding the laws they're passing, the things they're trying to do, because that's how they also manipulate him without realizing they're manipulating him, right? Because he's enough of a fucking distraction with the unhinged shit that he says and that he does, that they feel like they can get these kind of fucking laws passed.
Yep.
And by the time we realize that the shuck and jive of what they've done, it's
Yep.
too fucking late.
Yep.
You can't call your congressperson after the fact. It doesn't fucking matter that now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we have to give importance to the batshit unhinged things that he's saying, but we need to give more importance to what's going on behind the scenes that he's trying to distract us from.
That's right.
Because that's where the scary shit's happening.
Well, and to your point, right now, it's just a bill that's been introduced. And I said this at the beginning, I don't ever think anything like this will get passed. I don't believe that it will necessarily could some version of this get passed? It's a possibility, of course, but I would just be shocked. With that said, to your point, these are the things that we need to pay attention to. As much as I enjoy Elon Musk and Steve Bannon yelling at each other, and again,
well, yeah, and
I enjoy it.
We have to enjoy that, yeah, and
But
we have to talk about it because it's a real thing that has impact as well.
That's right. So I 1000% agree with you that these are the things that we need to be paying attention to and talking about and trying to bring some light on when it appears that nobody else is wanting to shine light on it. So I appreciate
Yeah.
you bringing it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So this leads into my next topic that you brought up, and rightly so. Meta's new policies on fact checking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I am an old lady. We've discussed this. I'm an old lady. I am almost fucking 50. I recognize that in myself. This is why you get on a Sunday afternoon, a hoodie, no makeup,
This.
hair like this,
Yes.
because I don't care
Things
anymore.
looking up. No.
If anyone younger out there is watching this, can I tell you how free you become at a certain age when you don't give
Yeah.
a fuck anymore? And this is what it is.
Yeah.
I can still look fine for my hubs, but for my podcast, I'm like, y'all, I'm not looking for a date. Y'all are fine.
If you're here to see what we look like versus listening to what we have to say, which is the most important thing you should be here for,
then you're not here
I
for
feel bad
right.
for
I
you.
can't help you. I can't help you.
Because
Or
we're never
this is
here
just
to
what you're
impress
into
you.
and you have a kink that you shouldn't share with the
I love it.
pro women's
I love
health
it for
center
all of
because
us.
right.
Yes.
Regardless.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Meta's new fact checking. You think that would have been identified as misinformation?
I mean, duh.
Because
But now we're just
I'm
self-policing,
devastated.
so it's
Right.
fine.
As an old lady, I'm on Facebook. I still am. I
Yeah, me
get
too.
as a Gen Xer, I'm still on Facebook. I also get on Instagram. I also do the
Mhm.
TikTok, which TikTok is going to be banned anyway. But I am still on Facebook and Instagram, and I am devastated. I am devastated that
Yeah.
Zuckerberg has decided to kiss the ring, bend the knee, and take away like actual real life. The number I can always tell when if someone tries to friend me and I see that every post is this content couldn't load, this content couldn't load, this content couldn't load. I'm
Yep.
like, okay, I have faith that this person is not someone I should probably interact with
Be
on a daily
interacting
basis.
with.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they clearly are not like spreading truth. And so
Right.
I'm like, the fact that Meta now has decided that instead of removing its fact checking, it's now going to have community comments.
Community content organizers or some shit like that. Yeah.
Right. God, I'm
And they've
pissed.
also, yeah, and they've also redone their hateful conduct policy, which is super frightening. And it's all under this guise, right, of like free speech, which we all know that on the MAGA right, free speech only means what I say. I get to be the one that spews the hate. I get to be the one that says the hateful things. But if you turn around and call me an ignorant fucking hillbilly or an ignorant knuckle dragging swamp cunt, now I don't believe in free speech. We have a problem. Now we have a problem because I don't believe in free speech.
I'll be honest. If anyone calls me a knuckle dragging swamp cunt,
Swamp cunt?
I'm about to put that on a t-shirt. Like that might be my favorite comment ever. So at the end of the day, like, let's see.
Yeah.
I definitely, swamp cunt is like, this is the swamp cunt era. I love that. I love this, right? But to your point, I agree. I agree with you that like at the end of the day, like the what you can say, what you can't say, what's considered hate speech, what's not considered hate speech. And I appreciate the fact that like Zuckerberg came into it with this like faux, oh, we're trying to protect free speech. We're trying to protect free speech.
And it's just gone too far.
Right. It's just gone too far.
Yes, us policing people's comments has gone too far. Only if you want to be able to say really horrible, nasty shit, do you believe it's gone? Only one certain group of people are having, right, only one certain, let's be honest here. Only one group is really having their shit censored on the fucking daily.
That's right.
Most of us don't have our shit censored.
I have never posted anything that I have ever had censored. And I am not shy about posting political content on my Facebook page. And I have never, ever had anything censored. Have you?
I think one time I shared something that I hadn't vetted first. Yeah. And then it came back and that was it. But like nothing I've ever said, I shared a post and I hadn't properly vetted it. And then it got flagged because it was not true. And so, but I've never like legitimately posted something myself, said something that got me flagged for anything. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm just so frustrated that, and unfortunately, we are getting to a place where, I don't think we've ever operated inside an America where so many businesses were so politically motivated. And what's really truly interesting to me is that we see that so much on the right. Now, I will say that I would guess the right would say that, oh, the DEI standards are so left wing, which
Yeah.
you're not wrong. I mean, most companies are not just dying to worry about diversity and inclusion. So I get it that is somewhat of a leftist viewpoint to try and like make
Mm-hmm.
sure we're including gay people and diverse people and whatever, which is
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, of course, great. But I also get the fact that like
Yes.
that it is. But at the end of the day, like we knew, like we started with Chick-fil-A being closed on Sunday and their owner coming out and believing in these pray the gay away camps that we talked about earlier, right? And giving money
Mm-hmm.
to conversion
Mm-hmm.
therapy and these really, really harmful, terrible policies.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had Hobby
Mm-hmm.
Lobby and the outlawing of
That's what I was getting ready to say.
right, the outlawing of
They
certain
refuse their refusal to cover
cover
birth control
birth
for their
control. Yep,
employees under
exactly.
Obamacare.
Exactly. So you had that. And now to see that, like, you've got X that was purchased by a private individual and run in a manner where it was like they can say whatever they want on X. And now to have these other tech bros who control so much of our social media that now can
Mm-hmm.
just make a decision of either we're gonna offer a safe platform or we're not. And it's funny because Congress has put forth so much effort into banning TikTok because, well, the Chinese now can get a hold of so much of our data,
But
but
we're
they're
not worried
doing
about
nothing
Temu.
to
We're not
address
worried about Sheen.
right. But they're doing nothing to address the real threat because we saw
Right.
it of
Yes.
Russian bots interfering with our
Mm-hmm.
elections. Like we saw,
Mm-hmm.
we know that
Mm-hmm.
we had outside countries and outside influences affecting our elections, right?
Well, and they know from our lone wolf terrorists, okay? They know that those folks are being what's the word? I don't want to say solicited, but they're being found on Facebook, on
Yeah.
X, on Instagram
Oh,
because of the things that they post. That's how they're being recruited. That's the word I'm looking for.
yes.
That's how they know whether it's the Klan, whether it's
ISIS, even
the
ISIS.
right.
They talk about the guy
Yes.
that was in
Yes.
New Orleans, and they said clearly he had been recruited through social media and social interactions, and that's
Yes.
how he was.
Yes. And
Right.
this is only going to make that easier to be done.
Yep. So I'm very disappointed. Mark
It's how the Proud
Zuckerberg,
Boys operate on Facebook.
I'm mad.
Yeah. I mean, this is how, I mean, it bothers me because this article that I was reading says the implementation of this policy shows that it is focused on allowing more hate speech against specific groups with a noticeable and particular focus on enabling more speech challenging the legitimacy of LGBTQ rights. For example, while allegations of mental illness against people based on their protected characteristics remain a Tier 2 violation, the revised policy now allows allegations of mental illness or abnormality when based on gender or sexual orientation, given political and religious discourse about transgenderism and homosexuality.
Well, great. I love
Right.
this journey for us.
Yeah. Like I don't, I
Yeah,
yeah. This is going to have far reaching, huge implications
I agree. I feel
and
like this is going to have
consequences.
further reaching impacts than we understand. It'll be interesting to
Mm-hmm.
see how this affects not only Facebook, but also Instagram, because, of course,
Mm-hmm.
it also
Yeah,
will
he
be
owns it.
interesting to see if there aren't many other social
No, like
media
I'm on
platforms.
Blue Sky. Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky, which
So am
I
I.
think is going to just get like better and better as it gets bigger and bigger and there's more users. It will be interesting to see because I had texted you when this came out, like, what do we do? Like, as people that don't agree with this policy, do I shut down my Facebook page? Okay, woo. Like, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. Like, me shutting my Facebook page down isn't going to, it's a fucking blip in the water. Who gives a shit? But then I'm also, the flip side to that is that now I'm missing out on people that don't live close to me, who I get to see pictures of their kids and the things that their families are doing and all those things. And like you had said, and yet that also, like, now so are all the truth tellers just going to leave?
Yeah.
Like, if we all just vacate and leave it to the MAGAs, like, I don't know. Then where do we congregate? Is it blue sky? I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I'm with you there, but I got to say, like, at the end of the day, the people that I keep up with on Facebook are, to your point, I enjoyed, like, some people in high school that I really enjoyed, and I love reading their posts, especially because some of them are even more batshit crazy than I am on the left, which is delightful to read and to watch and hear.
When they're even farther.
Yes.
Yeah.
Several of you know who you are. But at the end of the day, like, could I live the world without knowing that, so-and-so and whatever state is, whatever? Yes, I could live with just fine without that. So to your point, yes, it does me a disservice. But if it makes me feel better, then maybe that's what I need to do. To your point, I have not eaten at a Chick-fil-A in over 10 years at least. I refuse to shop at Hobby Lobby. Are those businesses still thriving? 100%.
Yeah.
And can I absolutely admit that Chick-fil-A sauce is a little taste of heaven? Absolutely, I can. But regardless, I don't care. I refuse. I will not shop there. I will not eat there. I will not patronize those places of business because it makes me feel better. So at the end of the day, if closing down my Facebook account is going to be what makes me feel better, then so be it. With that said, that might be easier said than done. We'll see what happens. But if not, I do have my Blue Sky account. Maybe that is the answer, is I'll find another social media platform and go from there. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, those are all the topics that I have today. I appreciate you making sure that we hit on the new meta policies, because I agree that those are a little worrisome. I also think it's, like you say, a good reminder of, like, the real issues that are coming up, like House Resolution 7 and this change in what those policies are going to look like. Those are the things that we really need to be looking at and paying attention to, even though the entertainment is coming from the Steve Bannon and Elon Musk fun.
Yes.
With that said, I think that hopefully these next, probably we will have one more podcast that we're going to do before the Trump inauguration. So I think we'll have one more opportunity to give whatever final words we have as part of the Biden administration and the Biden presidency that we might have. And then it's off to the races.
Then it's going to be all in on the shit show.
It's going to be something, that is for fucking sure. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for, hopefully you have made it through this entire podcast. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you can like and subscribe to this episode. And if you see fit to share it, feel free to share it with all of your MAGA loving friends, because we, of course, love to piss people off. That's one of the things that, as a 40-something-year-old woman, I really enjoy doing. Right.
Yeah.
Besides that, again, please subscribe to the channel so that you get notified every time we have a new video that comes out, even though I do try and post those on Facebook, but we'll see how long that lasts for, because who knows. And to the 6 of you that do watch, please feel free to comment below.
God, we love you.
I did go out and look at our comments to see if we had any comments that we needed to address on the show.
I didn't see any. Did you see any?
The last time that I went out, I did not see any specific comments, other than some very sweet comments from some people that actually like us and told us that we're doing a good job and want us to continue on with our podcast. So thank you to those of you who
is always
do
nice
appreciate
to hear.
it. I do. It is nice to hear. It's encouraging, and I think sometimes we just need a little encouragement. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much, and appreciate you guys watching, and have a fabulous week ahead.
That's right. Bye.